My name is Jade Rivera, and I still remember the smell of chlorine when my world changed forever. I was 15, diving into the community pool during summer camp. The diving board snapped. Metal scraped down my left arm and shoulder, leaving jagged scars that would never fade. The pain was nothing compared to what came next. Tasha Clinton was my cousin, my best friend since we were babies. Our moms were sisters who did everything together. We shared secrets, clothes, and dreams about the future. When I came home from the hospital with bandages covering half my arm, I thought she would comfort me. Instead, she stared at the scars when the bandages came off. Her face twisted with disgust. "Oh my God, Jade. That's so gross," she whispered. "You look like a monster." Those words cut deeper than any metal ever could. I trusted her with my pain, and she turned it into shame. That was the day I learned that some wounds never heal, especially the ones people you love give you. The scars were ugly, raised, and pink against my brown skin. But Tasha's reaction made them feel like a curse. Tasha didn't stop with that first cruel comment. She made it her mission to remind me daily how different I looked. "Cover that up," she'd say when we went to the mall. "People are staring." At school, she'd sit with the popular kids and whisper about my accident. She called me Scarface behind my back, thinking I wouldn't hear. But small towns carry whispers like wind carries seeds. She started taking pictures of my scars when I wasn't looking. She'd zoom in close and show them to her friends, laughing about how disgusting they were. The pictures ended up on social media with captions like, "When diving goes wrong," and "Some people shouldn't wear tank tops." My parents tried to help. They bought me expensive creams and took me to dermatologists. Nothing worked. The scars were permanent, and so was Tasha's cruelty. The worst part was watching her gain popularity by using my pain as entertainment. She became the girl with the crazy cousin stories. Every scar was content for her social media. I started wearing long sleeves in summer. I stopped swimming. I stopped living. By senior year, I had no friends left. Tasha had poisoned everyone against me with her stories and pictures. She made me the school freak. I ate lunch alone in the library. I walked home alone while she drove past with her new friends, music blasting. Sometimes they'd slow down just to stare and laugh. The online bullying got worse. Tasha created fake accounts to leave comments on my few social media posts. "Cover up those scars. Nobody wants to see that. Why don't you just move away? You make everyone uncomfortable." I started believing her. Maybe I was disgusting. Maybe I didn't deserve friends or love or happiness. The scars felt like they were growing, spreading, taking over my whole body. My grades dropped. I stopped caring about college applications. What was the point? Who would want someone who looked like me? The night before graduation, I made a decision. I would leave this town and never come back. I would disappear and let Tasha win. She could have her perfect life without her monster cousin ruining her reputation. I packed one suitcase and bought a bus ticket to Seattle. I left without saying goodbye to anyone, not even my parents. I couldn't face them. They'd spent so much money trying to fix me, and I was still broken. Seattle was cold and rainy, perfect for someone who wanted to hide. I rented a tiny apartment with the money I'd saved from my part-time job. I found work at a coffee shop where the manager didn't care about my scars. For the first time in years, strangers weren't staring at me. The customers barely looked up from their phones. I was invisible, and invisibility felt like freedom. I started taking night classes at community college. Business and marketing courses mostly. I had no real plan, just a desperate need to become someone different from the scared girl who ran away. During slow shifts, I read articles about successful women who'd overcome obstacles. I watched YouTube videos about starting businesses. I learned about social media marketing, branding, and customer psychology. Slowly, an idea began forming. What if I could help other people who felt broken? What if I could turn pain into power? The coffee shop became my laboratory. I watched customers, studied what made them happy or sad, confident or insecure. 2 years into my Seattle life, I met Dr. Sarah Mark at the coffee shop. She was a dermatologist who specialized in scar treatment and trauma recovery. She noticed my scars, but didn't stare or look away. Instead, She asked if I'd ever considered scar-positive skincare routines. "Your scars tell a story," she said gently. "They don't define your beauty, but they're part of your journey." Dr. Mark became my first real friend since leaving home. She introduced me to support groups for trauma survivors. I met people with burn scars, surgical scars, accident scars. All of them had stories of shame and isolation. But some had also found healing. Not the kind that erases scars, but the kind that changes how you see them. I started researching the beauty industry. Billions of dollars spent on making people feel inadequate, then selling them solutions. The whole system was built on shame. What if there was a different way? What if beauty meant embracing your whole story, scars and all? I began developing the idea for a company that would celebrate healing instead of hiding. Products that nourished scarred skin without promising to erase it. Content that made people feel powerful, not broken. I spent the next year planning my business. I saved every penny from the coffee shop. I took online courses in cosmetic chemistry and business development. My apartment became a laboratory. I mixed skincare formulations on my Kitmark counter, testing them on my own scars. I created social media accounts and started sharing my story honestly for the first time. The response shocked me. Hundreds of people commented with their own scar stories. They thanked me for making them feel less alone. I realized I wasn't just building a business. I was building a community. I named the company Resilient Beauty. The tagline was, "Your scars are not flaws. They're proof of your strength." Dr. Mark helped me refine my formulations and connected me with other medical professionals. We created products specifically for scarred skin, oils that reduced inflammation, creams that improved texture, makeup that enhanced rather than covered. Most importantly, we created content that changed how people thought about scars. Every product came with affirmations and empowerment messages. The first year was brutal. I worked 18-hour days, handling everything from manufacturing to shipping to customer service. But it was working. Sales grew every month. By year 3, Resilient Beauty was making millions. We had celebrity endorsements, partnerships with medical professionals, and a cult following of loyal customers. I moved the company to a beautiful office in downtown Seattle. I hired a team of talented women, many of whom had their own stories of overcoming trauma. We expanded beyond skincare into wellness products, self-help books, and motivational speaking. I started doing interviews and appeared on magazine covers. The girl who once hid her scars was now proudly displaying them on national television. I changed my last name legally from Rivera to Johnston. Jade Johnston felt like who I'd become, someone who rose from ashes. The business grew into an empire. We had international shipping, multiple product lines, and a social media following in the millions. But success didn't erase the past. Late at night, I still thought about Tasha. I wondered if she knew what I'd become. Part of me hoped she was watching, seeing the monster she'd mocked succeed beyond her wildest dreams. I'd built something beautiful from the ugliness she'd made me feel. Every customer who found confidence through our products was proof that her cruelty hadn't won. I hired a private investigator to check on my family and hometown. I told myself it was just curiosity, but really I wanted to know if Tasha was still the queen bee she'd been in high school. The report shocked me. Tasha's life had collapsed spectacularly. She'd married her high school boyfriend right after graduation. He left her for her best friend 2 years later. She'd tried various careers, real estate, MLM schemes, influencer marketing, but nothing stuck. Her social media following had dwindled. The photos that once got hundreds of likes now barely got 10. She was 25 and living with her parents, working part-time at a discount store. The woman who'd built her reputation on mocking others had become the target of gossip herself. People whispered about her failed marriage, her dead-end jobs, her desperate attempts to reclaim her former popularity. I should have felt satisfied, but instead I felt empty. Her downfall didn't heal my old wounds. What surprised me was learning that my parents still talked about me. They'd kept my room exactly the same, hoping I'd come home someday. That hurt more than Tasha's cruelty ever had. 3 months later, my HR manager brought me an interesting application. A woman from my hometown had applied for our marketing coordinator position. The name made my blood freeze, Tasha Clinton. Her resume was pathetic. Gaps in employment, no relevant experience, and references from high school teachers because she had no professional ones. But her cover letter was what really caught my attention. She wrote about struggling with self-confidence and wanting to work for a company that empowered women. She mentioned having personal experience with feeling judged for her appearance. The irony was suffocating. The woman who'd spent years making me feel worthless about my scars was now claiming to understand judgment and discrimination. I should have thrown the application away. Instead, I found myself scheduling her for an interview. I wanted to see her face when she realized who was sitting across from her. I wanted to watch the recognition dawn, see the fear in her eyes. Maybe I wanted revenge. Maybe I wanted closure. Or maybe I just wanted to understand how someone could be so cruel to their family. I scheduled the interview for the following week. I spent days planning what I'd say to Tasha. I practiced in the mirror, imagining different scenarios. Would she recognize me immediately? Would she pretend not to remember how she'd treated me? Would she apologize or try to justify her cruelty? I considered wearing something that would hide my scars, just to see how long it took her to figure out who I was. But that felt like letting her win again. Instead, I chose a sleeveless dress that showed my scars proudly. I wore them like battle armor now, proof of what I'd survived and overcome. My assistant confirmed the appointment. Tasha would arrive at 2 p.m. on Tuesday for a meeting with the CEO. She had no idea she was walking into her past. I researched everything about her current life. Her social media was still active but sad, desperate posts about new diets, get-rich-quick schemes, and vague complaints about life being unfair. She'd gained weight and looked older than her 25 years. The confident girl who'd ruled high school had been replaced by someone who seemed lost and bitter. Part of me felt sorry for her, but mostly I felt powerful. Tasha walked into my office wearing a cheap suit that didn't fit properly. She was nervous, fidgeting with her purse and avoiding eye contact. I let her sit down and get comfortable before I spoke. She was looking at her hands, probably running through interview answers in her head. "Thank you for coming today, Tasha," I said in my most professional voice. She looked up with a practiced smile, ready to make a good impression on her potential boss. The smile died instantly. Her face went white, then red, then white again. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. "You seem surprised," I continued calmly. "Should I introduce myself, or do you remember your cousin Jade?" She stared at my scars, the same ones she'd mocked and photographed years ago. But now they were displayed confidently in a corner office worth more than her parents' house. "Jade," she whispered. I didn't know. I mean, the name on the website is Johnston." "I changed it," I said. "Jade Rivera died the day she left town. Jade Johnston built all of this." I gestured around the office, letting her take in the success she was seeing. Tasha's hands were shaking. She kept staring at me like I was a ghost. "You're the CEO," she said, more to herself than to me. "You own Resilient Beauty." "I built it from nothing," I replied. "Amazing what you can accomplish when people stop telling you you're disgusting." She flinched at the word. "Good." She remembered using it. "Jade, I didn't know you were still in Seattle." I thought. "You thought I'd disappeared forever? That the broken girl you tortured would never amount to anything." She started crying, which surprised me. The Tasha I remembered never cried. She made other people cry. "I'm sorry," she sobbed. "I was so young and stupid. I didn't understand how much I was hurting you." "You understood perfectly," I said coldly. "You took pictures of my scars and posted them online. You called me Scarface. You made sure everyone at school knew to avoid the monster." "I was jealous," she whispered. "That stopped me." "Jealous? Of what?" "Of how brave you were. Even with the scars, you still tried to be normal." I was terrified that if something like that happened to me, I'd never recover. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. "So you decided to make sure I never recovered?" I asked. "That makes it better?" Tasha wiped her eyes with a tissue from my desk. "No, it makes it worse. I was a coward who picked on someone stronger than me." "Stronger?" "I ran away from home without saying goodbye to my parents. I spent years thinking I was worthless because of what you did to me. And look what you became," she said, gesturing around the office. You built something incredible. You help people. I. I destroy everything I touch. Don't you dare try to make me feel sorry for you, I snapped. You're here begging for a job because your life fell apart. That's not my fault. I know, she said quietly. I'm not asking for pity. I'm asking for a chance to make things right. By working for me? By letting me be your boss. She nodded. I need this job, Jade. I'm broke. I'm living with my parents. I've failed at everything I've tried. The desperation in her voice should have felt like victory. This was what I'd imagined, her crawling back, powerless and defeated. But it felt hollow. Empty. Watching someone you once loved beg doesn't heal old wounds. Tell me about your marketing experience, I said, pretending this was a normal interview. She stumbled through answers about managing her own social media and helping friends with their small businesses. It was pathetic, but she was trying. Why do you want to work for Resilient Beauty specifically? Because I need to learn how to be the person you became, she said. Strong. Confidence. Someone who builds instead of destroying. You want me to teach you how to be a better person? After what you did to me. I want to work for someone who overcame what I put them through. Maybe some of your strength will rub off on me. It was manipulation, and we both knew it. But there was something desperate and genuine in her voice too. I could hire her and make her life miserable. Give her impossible tasks, public humiliation, all the cruelty she'd shown me. It would be justice, wouldn't it? Or I could refuse to hire her and watch her leave, defeated. Let her know that actions have consequences, that some bridges can't be rebuilt. But there was a third option, one that scared me more than revenge. I could forgive her. I need to think about this, I told her. I'll call you tomorrow with my decision. After she left, I sat in my office staring out at the Seattle skyline. My assistant brought me coffee and asked if I was okay. Just dealing with some old business, I said. That night, I called Dr. Mark. She'd become my mentor over the years, helping me navigate the emotional side of my success. She's asking me to save her, I explained. The person who almost destroyed me wants me to give her a chance at redemption. What do you want to do? Dr. Mark asked. Part of me wants to crush her. Make her feel as small as she made me feel. And the other part? The other part remembers that she's family. That we used to love each other before everything went wrong. Dr. Mark was quiet for a moment. Revenge feels good at the moment, but it doesn't heal anything. Forgiveness is harder, but it sets you free. What if she doesn't deserve forgiveness? Forgiveness isn't about what she deserves. It's about what you need to move forward. I hung up the phone knowing what I had to do. It wasn't the decision my hurt 15-year-old self would have made. But I wasn't that girl anymore. I called Tasha the next morning. She answered on the first ring. I've made my decision, I said without preamble. I'm going to hire you. Silence. Then crying. Thank you, she whispered. I won't let you down. Yes, you will, I said bluntly. You'll make mistakes. You'll disappoint me. But I'm going to give you the chance to prove you can be better than who you were. I don't understand. Why would you help me after what I did? Because the company I built is about turning pain into power. About helping people heal and grow. I can't ask my customers to embrace that mission if I'm not willing to live it myself. I outlined the terms. She'd start as a junior marketing assistant, the lowest position available. Her salary would be barely above minimum wage. She'd report directly to me, and I'd be watching everything she did. If you gossip about me, share company information, or show any hint of the person you used to be, you're gone immediately, I warned. I understand, she said. Do you? Because this isn't charity, Tasha. This is business. You'll earn everything you get here. Tasha's first day was awkward for everyone. Word had spread through the office that the new hire was my cousin, the one I'd talked about in interviews as part of my origin story. My employees knew the basics of what had happened to me in high school. They knew someone had bullied me about my scars, though I'd never named names. Now that someone was sitting at a desk in our office, looking nervous and grateful, I introduced her to the team professionally. This is Tasha Clinton, our new marketing assistant. She'll be working on social media content and customer outreach. I watched my employees' faces carefully. A few looked curious, others seemed uncomfortable. But they were professional. Tasha threw herself into the work with desperate energy. She stayed late, asked thoughtful questions, and volunteered for extra projects. For the first month, she was the perfect employee. Punctual, hardworking, eager to learn. But I was waiting for the other shoe to drop. People don't change overnight, especially. Instagram account and noticed that our scar-positive posts got the most engagement. What if we started a hashtag campaign? She suggested during a team meeting. Scars are stories, asking people to share how their scars represent strength, not shame. It was a good idea. A great idea, actually. Run with it, I told her. Develop a full campaign proposal. She worked on it for 2 weeks, creating sample posts, influencer outreach strategies, and engagement metrics. The presentation was professional and thoughtful. More importantly, it was personal. She'd included posts about emotional scars, not just physical ones. About people who'd hurt others and learned to be better. This is good work, I admitted after her presentation. Thank you, she said. I've been thinking a lot about different types of healing. The campaign launched the following month and became our most successful social media initiative ever. Thousands of people shared their stories, sales increased by 40%, and we got coverage in major magazines. Tasha had found her strength, understanding pain and helping others process it. Maybe because she'd caused so much of it herself. 6 months after hiring her, I invited Tasha to lunch. Not as boss and employee, but as family trying to heal old wounds. We sat in a quiet restaurant, both nervous. I've been wanting to ask you something, I said. Why were you really so cruel to me? And don't say jealousy again. I need the real answer. She stared at her salad for a long time before speaking. Do you remember when we were kids, how close we were? We told each other everything. I nodded. When your accident happened, I was terrified. Not of how you looked, but of what it meant. If something that random and horrible could happen to you, it could happen to anyone. To me. So you decided to hurt me instead? I thought if I made you the other, the damaged one, the different one, then I'd be safe. Like your pain was contagious and cruelty was protection. It was the most honest thing she'd ever said to me. I turned you into my scapegoat, she continued. Everything I was afraid of becoming, I projected onto you. And when you left, I realized I'd destroyed the person who understood me best. You could have apologized then. You could have reached out. I tried. I wrote so many letters I never sent. Called your number until it was disconnected. But I was too ashamed. And too proud. I spent years hating you, I told her. But I spent even more years hating myself because of what you made me believe about my worth. I know. I'm sorry it doesn't cover it, but I am. I'm sorry for every cruel word, every photo, every moment I made you feel less than perfect. I'm not perfect, I said. I'm scared. Literally and figuratively. But I learned that scars don't make you broken. They make you stronger, she said, echoing the company motto. Only if you let them. Only if you choose to learn from the pain instead of just carrying it around. We sat in silence for a while, 2 women who'd shared childhood memories and teenage trauma, trying to figure out how to be family again. I don't know if I can ever fully forgive you, I said finally. But I'm willing to try. For both of us. That's more than I deserve. Maybe. But it's what I need to move forward completely. She reached across the table and touched my scarred hand gently. For the first time in 10 years, I didn't pull away. I'm proud of you, she whispered. I'm proud of who you became despite what I did to you. I'm proud of who you're becoming too. Our relationship slowly shifted from boss-employee to something more complex. We weren't best friends again. Too much had happened for that. But we weren't enemies either. Tasha excelled at her job. She understood our customers because she understood shame and the desire to overcome it. Her campaign ideas were always empathetic and authentic. After a year, I promoted her to marketing manager. She'd earned it through hard work and genuine growth. But more importantly, she learned to channel her understanding of pain into helping others heal. The girl who'd once caused trauma was now helping people recover from it. We started having regular family dinners with our parents. They were overjoyed to have us both back in their lives, and they pretended not to notice the careful distance we still maintained with each other. Healing isn't linear. Some days I trusted her completely. Other days, Old anger would surface when she laughed too loudly or got too comfortable. But we were both committed to the process. She never asked me to forget what had happened, and I never used it as a weapon against her. We were learning to be imperfect people trying to do better. 2 years after hiring Tasha, I received an unexpected phone call. A reporter from a business magazine wanted to do a feature story about family business dynamics and second chances. Someone had told them about Resilient Beauty's unique story, how the CEO had hired the very person who'd bullied her into starting the company. "We'd love to interview both of you," the reporter said. "It's such an inspiring story of forgiveness and transformation." I felt sick. Our private healing process was about to become public entertainment. I called Tasha immediately. "Did you talk to a reporter about us?" "No," she said, panic in her voice. "I would never do that without asking you first." I believed her. But someone had leaked our story. "They want to interview us both," I explained. "Turn our trauma into inspiration porn for their readers." "What do you want to do?" "I don't know. Part of me wants to tell them to go to hell. But part of me thinks this could help other people in similar situations." "It's your call," Tasha said. "If you do the interview, I'll support you. If you don't, I'll support that too." That night, I realized something had fundamentally changed between us. She was putting my comfort ahead of potential publicity for herself. The old Tasha would have jumped at the chance for attention. I decided to do the interview, but on my terms. The magazine feature came out 6 months later. The headline read, "From Scars to Success, How Two Cousins Healed a Decade of Pain." I'd insisted on controlling the narrative. Instead of focusing on the bullying or revenge aspects, we talked about the business of healing. About how understanding pain, both causing it and surviving it, made us better at helping our customers. The article was honest about our past, but focused on our growth. It showed that forgiveness isn't a single moment, but an ongoing choice. The response was overwhelming. Thousands of people reached out with their own stories of family trauma, workplace conflicts, and second chances. Our sales increased, but more importantly, our mission felt validated. Standing in my office a year later, looking at the framed magazine cover, I thought about the 15-year-old girl who'd run away in shame. She could never have imagined this moment. Tasha knocked on my door. "The quarterly reports are ready," she said, then paused. "Jade? Thank you. For everything." "Thank you too," I said. "For becoming someone worth forgiving." She smiled. Not the cruel smile I remembered from high school, but something genuine and warm. "Want to grab dinner tonight?" "My treat." "Family dinner?" "Family dinner." As she left, I touched my scars absently. They were still there, still visible, still part of my story. But they no longer defined me as broken. I'd built an empire not in spite of my scars, but because of what they'd taught me about resilience. And in the process, I'd learned that sometimes the best revenge is refusing to let someone else's cruelty poison your capacity for grace. My name is Jade Johnston, and this is how I turned my deepest wound into my greatest strength.